of them. And those who can write, review, talk about them, so that they are informed about the books. Personally, in my third time, like I said earlier, so I'm hoping that the literary gods and the ancestors will say, okay, I follow the in your year. And then I can buy more books, I buy more pens to write another collection.
Congratulations, truly it is your year. Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Febechi. Febechi. Yes. Yes, I'm usually the first. Yes. Nice to meet you too.
I mean, those ones beside me.
No, now.
Hello again. The writers are here. You can hear some of them on screen. Feel free to interact with them and go through the exhibition, which is outside. The books are outside. Thank you very much.
And we'll have a little competition just to catch up on a few things. Ayo. Good afternoon. I will say Happy New Year. Okay, so Ayo, I had the good fortune of interviewing you last year on the blue carpet. And a little birdie tells me that it's your third time around. So do you think that third time is a charm?
Definitely that's a good charm.
Love it, love it. So Ayo, tell us about your collection. What's the name of your collection and why?
Okay, so the collection so that and use that to explore human life, human conditions, and how we can look inward and look around us to make our lives better. So that's what it's about.
I'm going to ask you this question. I asked you last year, and I'll ask you again. So when the $100,000 shows up, what's the plan?
Honestly, to be fair, I've been changing my mind. I remember 2 years ago I said something. Last year I said that this year it's best to just keep my lip short.
Okay, so what are you expecting from the book party today? Because I mean, you've come here a few times. So today, what are you expecting?
I think generally I'm always excited that NLG and CORA are doing this for writers and definitely gives the light of literature in the
get to meet some of the finest writers and what they're doing. So I think that's enough joy for me. So just like every other year, I think it's like our own carnival where we get to let the world know what we do and get the people to go out there and buy our books. Thank you so much. I trust that you have a fantastic afternoon. And once again, congratulations, because 11 out of over 200, you deserve the accolades. Congrats. Well done. And have a good afternoon. The Literary Festival, as Ayo calls it, yes? So it's another day, it's another CORA book reading, and we look forward to it. Thank you very much.
Right, because the main objective of this prize is to encourage reading and to spotlight the writers. So just as we're spotlighting the writers, I'm looking forward to everybody who comes in here, either as a writer or as a publisher, to be inspired and to do more.
So what encourages NLNG to do this every year without fail?
So NLNG is committed to excellence, like I said, and we looked at literature. Literature is very key for nation building. And so as part of our sustainable development activities, next is in developing the literary community, in developing education. We found this prize as a very good prize, and over the years, trust me, we've seen great improvements in the number of entries we receive, in the publishing. The books keep getting better year in, year out. So that's a great inspiration for us, because it's in line with our vision of inspiring that sustainable future.
So the long list today, what are the expectations? And I mean, how inspired are you by the collections that you've seen?
You know, I'm very inspired, and I've listened to other writers, I've listened to critics, and they're all excited. And the excitement I can also see, because sitting with the panel of judges, I'm listening to the process of arriving at that list. I'm looking at the detail that each writer has put in. Every writer on that list is a winner.
I agree with you. Any passing words before I allow you to go and enjoy the party?
Please enjoy the evening and be inspired.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
I will die. It's the trailer. You don't care about my point of view. You oppress every part of me. What you don't know, you're a big too, Mr. Trailer. I'm talking to you, Trailer. Someone me a prisoner. Let me always without it. Better words to pass the storm, Mr. Trailer. Mr. Trailer. Life is not about your policies all the time, so you better rearrange your philosophies. I'll be good to you, better man, stop calling me a prisoner. Let me always without it, better words to pass the snow, Mr. Trailer. Mr. Trailer man, I am my very self. I wanna be president. I want your money from my government. What you don't know, what you won't know, what you can't know. Trailer, Trailer, Trailer. Somewhere we go to war, somewhere we go to war.
A very thorough process, and there is that sincere desire to improve things.
Thank you. Once again, we have 11 long listed. What do you think of this set of long lists this year?
I think they are very talented. They are all very talented. As usual, the competition will be very keen. The judges will break sweat to get the top 3 and then the eventual one. I can tell you as somebody that been a judge, it's very keen because the judges have different mindsets. They're going to argue, they're going to debate, they're going to assess, together with the members of the advisory board, to scrutinize down to the details. At the end of the day, it's going to be the details that will separate them. They're all talented, they all deserve to win. But it's the details that will separate them.
Same here.
Hold on, please. You are starting immediately. All right, are we ready? In 3, 2, 1, go.
And of course, it's always a delight to be home with my friends and family.
I saw this house.
I think next session.
All right, thank you very much. How are we going to
Watch out for the tides of the take your seat, please. Thank you.
Tonight. Tonight.
No, I bet.
Another person is coming now. Let's get ready. Another person is coming.
I wake up, I see you, I see you morning. I see I believe, I see you morning. When we kiss, I won't leave, but you're far away. Be my girl, be my son, be still.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please, as you come into the hall, quickly take your seats. The program is about to start. There are open seats on the second, third, and third row, all the way to the fourth row. Please take your seats. Please take your seats.
I said it first those raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all, when the sun can shine through. To make those rainbows in my mind, when I think of you tonight, I wanna spend some time with you, just the two of us. We're the castle in the sky, just the two of us, just the two of us. Just the two of us, even castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I. I see the first stars raindrops fall, and the beauty already know when the sun can shine through. To make those rainbows in my mind, when I feel the beautiful time, I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. Yeah, they castles in the sky, just the two of us, just the two of us. Just the two of us, you the castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I. I've never seen a shine so bright. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin, as we commence today's event, I call on members of the Association of Nigerian Authors Network of book clubs and reading promoters poets, essayists, and novelists, poets in Nigeria, Publishers Association of Nigeria, the Nigeria Book Fair Trust, National Association of Nigerian Theatre Arts Practitioners, Nigeria Poetry Festival, AJ is reserved for you. Members should come in and take their seats on the second row. We're about to commence this program. It's a tradition. To him. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Iwa Alabi. You are for bridge. You're welcome to the center. I will first of all say, for your safety, try as much as possible to identify who and who you are sitting with. Know the person you are sitting with first, because sometimes you have people you are sitting with at the table that maybe you are just meeting here for the first time. And you are so relaxed with your phone, with your valuables, and you might end up missing them. So that's your first thing. The second also is for you to identify your exits and entrances. Here, as it is, we have 4 doors leading into museum, leading into the hall. So if you look behind you, you have 4 double doors, although 2 of them are just behind the curtains, but they are not locked. But you have 2 main doors leading to the hall. And just as you go into the foyer, we also have 3 major doors there through which you can go out. Muster point, in case of emergency, is towards your left. You go down through the doors where you have the red carpet, and by your right, as left-hand side there, when you get out, that is where we have the muster point. Just inside the hall, for those who might be on the stage, so emergency, if you need to evacuate the hall, by your right-hand side facing the hall is an exit point where you can also evacuate downstairs into the car park and then to the muster point. We have safety men, fire marshals, also all the security men are trained in this and they are available just at the entrance. There's an alarm, they will come and lead you out. So in case of emergency, please, I'll first of all advise you, don't panic. Take your time to leave quietly without causing any stampede. And can assure you there won't be any issue that will require that you run and leave the hall with emergency. I'm available. The chief security officer also is available should there be any reason for you to want to call our attention to anything. So please enjoy yourself, enjoy your time, and have a good day.
Thank you very much, Iwale Shaw. That is the full name. Character is your beauty, or beauty is your character. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this 18th edition of the CORA, the Nigeria Prize for Literature book party. Somebody will be here later to explain what the book party means. My own job is just to welcome you and then to be the compere this afternoon. I'll claim the indulgence of our partners, the Nigeria LNG, to do somebody's introduction before I will now call on you. First, I want to say that we have most of our writers online. They have been there since 10 years. They went to rest, now they are back there. We have 4 writers in the hall who are here in Nigeria, others are outside. Doesn't mean that Nigerian literature is outside. Nigerian literature is inside and outside. But we have more of them outside. We're even lucky this year. I think last year we had only 2 of them in this hall, and we were wondering, okay, why did you spend money to rent chairs? But thank you very much. The poet laureates who are online, we call them the laureates because we believe that they are winners already. For you to be the best 11 out of 223, that means you are the very, very best. Please, a big round of applause for them. These are the best poets in contemporary Nigeria or on the planet. You can clap for that if you want. Also online, we have quite a lot of our special guests there. First, let me recognize my boss, the chairman of the CORA Board of Trustees, Chief Kari Adeno, who joined us for 12 noon. Thank you very much, Chief, for being there in London. It is summertime, and you know, big men don't stay in Nigeria alone. When I become big, I'll also be abroad. Thank you. I'm not yet. Professor Akachi Osibo, who, as you know, is a venerated, respected, Verge chairman of the advisory committee for the Nigeria Prize for Literature, for Science. We used to have the criticism, now we have the creative arts. She's been online too since 12 noon. Thank you very much, Prof, for being here with us, all the way from Abakaliki. But I said I was giving you a indulgence because I was surprised to see Professor Duro Oni, former deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming. You see, big men are always very simple. No air. So, let me start with the LLNG because the next person I'm going to call from CORA will come in to give speech. Especially, I want to welcome our board members of CORA. I think I've seen two of them in the hall, apart from the Secretary General, Mr. Femi Odubemi, the famous filmmaker, who had to dash in from Abeokuta, where his latest film, The Man Died, is being screened. The Man Died is on Wole Soyinka. Thank you very much for making it here. And we have one of us who is actually based abroad, but is here now in flesh and blood, Mr. Ayo Aribabu. Ayo used to direct this program when he was here. Why is he sitting there? You're supposed to be somewhere here. You can join the CORA table there, unless you are comfortable there. Okay. Somebody said you don't want to share the dollars. But, so, having done that, please, more recognition will come eventually. Let me welcome to this gathering. There's somebody I'm supposed to introduce, but she's not here yet, and I don't know whether I should do that now. But I can just mention that she's on her way. Okay. Dr. Sophia Osford, Chair External Relations and Sustainable Development. She's not here yet, but she's always the first person to speak on this chapter, Mr. Toyin, but she's not here yet. But we have here Anne-Marie Palma-Igugu, Manager, Corporate Communications and Public Affairs. Thank you very much for being here. We have Mr. Dagogo Bowari, Manager, Nigerian Content Development. He's not here. Okay. All the other senior staff and medium level staff and junior staff of LNG who have worked assiduously to make sure that this project goes on well. Thank you very much, everyone. I don't want to start mentioning names, but if I mention one, I have to mention the second person, but they are all here. I eventually will get to meet them, maybe before we take the photo session. Now, if we are all here and we agree that we can start, we would like to start. Let me say special greetings to CORA members who are in the hall. Please just stand up wherever you are, CORA volunteers. CORA volunteers, stand up wherever you are. That's just for your recognition. I saw that you were reluctant to stand up, but okay. So, we have 4 of the authors here. I'm reluctant to mention them now because they are coming on stage and I don't want to give it all. But especially, let me welcome Mrs. Ayo Kobe. Thank you very much, one of our guests. If you don't know her, then you don't know the story of the whole place in Nigeria. Thank you very much for being here. So, right about now, I think we would like to start immediately by inviting on stage the Secretary General of CORA, Mr. Toyin. That's the man who founded CORA in 1991. CORA is 35 years old. Please, a big round of applause for CORA.
Good afternoon, everybody. If I want to do the age thing, especially say good afternoon, Professor Duroni, and all of that protocols observed. There's not going to be, today is a day of readings. This is a book reading event. But from what I understand from my courses, there will not be reading scripts, and there will be some animation thing. I don't know the details, my Oga works this process. So I'm going to take advantage to read an excerpt, from Femi Oshofison's book, The Best of Times. Professor Oshofison is 80, he was 80 a month ago, roughly 2 months ago now, we're in August. And in the last 1 month, CORA has had 4 weekends of conversations of Oshofison's works. We've had quite a number of young people join, 50 to 70 people every week, and we've trashed all of those poems that is written as Okiba Laonko. But Oshofison is also Nigeria's most performed playwright. If you're looking at, Professor Shoyinka is the novelist and he won on the basis of being a playwright. But Shoyinka is a decathlete, He's running a decathlon, he does many things. He's a filmmaker, he's a long essayist, non-fun essayist, he's drama, he's done, he's written novels. Professor Oshofison is more a playwright. But he's got this collection of novellas, and I find one particular excerpt quite interesting. I'm not supposed to read any poem because these poets are competing against each other, and if you are going to read any poem, it looks like you are raining on their parade. So let me read from an Oshofison text, especially since this is in CORA, the Oshofison year. So this is Cholera College, and Oshofison is a satirist. The Prime Minister summoned his cabinet for an emergency meeting. It took only a week to assemble. The Finance Minister was flown in from Switzerland, where he had gone to hide some of the nation's money so he would not come to harm within the country. He did not relish the abrupt interruption of his patriotic mission. The Transport Minister was finally discovered by overzealous customs officers among some bales of smuggled lace cloth at the border. He was publicly commended for his detective genius, and the customs officers were rebuked. The Culture Minister could not be present, being occupied at the time with cleaning up the products. But as soon as the quorum was formed, the Prime Minister got up to address his men. Gentlemen of the cabinet, he said, I'm sure you've all heard the news. A serious situation has developed in one of our colleges. Cholera seems to have taken over power there. Now, what shall we do? Even before he finished, one of the ministers was on his feet. It's a lie, he shouted angrily. And so furious was he that for some seconds the cabinet saw his heavy jowls walking up and down rapidly like some engine gone out of order, without any coherent words coming through. He was an Ekiti man of a illustrious background, but ever since the student days he had never been able to control his fits of temper. But at last he recovered his voice and turned to the Prime Minister. It's a blatant lie, and you know it. Yes, sir. It's a conspiracy against me and you of all people, whom I've always trusted as a man of caliber, trying to disgrace me publicly. Some sympathetic slaps on his back helped him out of his stammer, while the Prime Minister stood aghast, keeping his distance. keeping his distance with one hand watchfully caressing the cutlass hidden in the folds of his agbada. These are the people you never can tell. We will have to be fighting to the death, he told himself. At last, a courageous voice dared to ask the irate minister why he should feel disgraced by the news of cholera breaking out of the campus. It's a lie, replied the Ekiti man unappeased. It's a conspiracy. I have not broken out anywhere or seized power. All I did was a paid visit to the campus last week, an official visit. Can a minister no longer perform his public duty without a rumble of rumors and the poor prime minister started to explain amidst the laughter what he meant by cholera, but he never had a chance, and the stalwarts had risen to his defense. What? Shrieked the Jebu minister. You Ekiti bushman, do you dare accuse the prime minister of tribal jingoism? All the Ekiti in the cabinet stared at that offense, remembering their warrior ancestors, those dirty heroes who had fought with the mighty Ogedengbe. How could an Ijebu, a mere son of sacrificial helots, according to them, challenge the purebred son of the soil? And soon, the cabinet was split into rival factions as each ethnic group confounded the other with the exploits of his ancestors. Femi Oshofison, the best of times. Thank you very much for indulging that. I know some people are wondering this man is going to take all the time. All right, so a welcome to the guests of honor, the distinguished long listed authors for the prestigious Nigerian Literature Prize, and all their families. I crave indulgence of the chairman of the Board of Trustees of CORA, Chief Kayode, and members of the CORA Board of Trustees, the CORA Governing Board, and the leadership of Nigeria LNG Limited. Welcome our friends, book lovers, book readers, literary enthusiasts, being well-wishers, and everyone here present at the 17th edition of the book party organized by the partnership of CORA and the Nigerian Prize for Literature. We're here because a profitable gas company, Nigerian gas company, decided that a way to spend some share of its profits is to enable the Nigerian reading space. The last time we got together was August 3, exactly a year ago, at the Lagos Continental Hotel. I promise you we'll be at the National Theatre next year. The venue needs patronage. It should be the primary site for cultural engagement of the magnitude and significance we're having today. I want to congratulate the Nigerian LNG who are close to completion of the 35% expansion of their factory. The NLNG runs the largest midstream hydrocarbon plant in sub-Saharan Africa and is a beautiful player of taxis with Nigerian treasury. I was just reading the NLNG facts and figures. You should get a hold of that. They paid $700 million to the tax to Nigerian treasury last year. That's a lot of money. That's 0.7 billion. I'm not going to tell you how much dividend they paid to the state. Since they were tax compliant, they paid close to $15 billion to the state, and this is a 30-year-old company. It's among Nigerian oil companies, it's essentially the one Nigerian company that, I mean, you know that the CEO is always a Nigerian, so they don't have an Oyibo, who runs affairs. They are not Chevron or, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to knock those companies. I'm just saying that, we can do it. The NLNG I mean, I congratulate. Okay, so they just also have an incoming CEO, Mr. Ole Falade, who just resumed work in March. He has superintended in the last 4 years as he's been around. I'm not sure whether it's luck or his own sheer grace, but essentially they've extracted more gas out of the country under his stewardship than for some time in the past. In the last 3 years anyway, they've been doing better in terms of export of gas, and so money is coming in, and so they can sponsor this prize. Mr. Falade is actually the first MD of Nigerian LNG Limited, who has previously worked at the NLNG. You typically have, I mean, it's likely, the MD is likely someone coming from Shell, but LA worked as GM NLNG between roughly 2019 and 2023. Then he went to work in Namibia, which is the most busy exploration spot in the world. If you are assigned to Namibia, I mean, you have to be one top professional. Namibia is where everybody is drilling for oil now. And then he went to Brunei, to the MD of Brunei and LNG. This afternoon, we have returned to celebrate the poetry of Nigerian life. The literary matriarch, Mabel Shegun, said that the throwing a stone in the marketplace would hit a Nigerian writer. What it basically means that Nigeria is filled with writers. But Ode Ofemo, the very respected poet, Ode Ofemo responded that it would actually hit a Nigerian poet. The likeliest literary genre a budding Nigerian writer will start with is poetry. It is why this country hosts the most acclaimed verse masters in the universe. And this afternoon, we're acknowledging 11 of them. I've read these lines, trust me, I have the opportunity to read these books because I do the excerpting, that you're likely to see performed. So, I mean, these are very powerful lines. It's a very fierce competition. Our list includes Black Passports, in which Paul Apomuje takes us through a journey of Black African migration in Canada, tracing the possibilities of fugitivity, the weight of home, and the ways borders, paperwork, and diasporic placemaking shape and are shaped by identity. In ceremonies for the nameless, Teresa Lola explores the act of naming and its role in shaping our identities and aspirations, what we carry, and how we belong. Adebayo Agarao's The Years of Blood addresses ritual killings and child abductions in Nigeria, particularly in Ibadan, drawing on Yoruba cosmology and folklore. Razak Malik Bolawan's collection, The Origin of Wounds, exhumes fragments of historical accounts that bring us face to face with the brutality of national and global wars. Tares Ogurumu's Flora's Love Colony is an anthology of poems that recount the intrusion of imperial fascination with the purpose of Nigeria's ebullient human and capital resources. In 2000, Blacks, Ajibade Tolashe probes the complexity of economic and politically motivated migration from Africa, which has been referred to as African brain drain. Sadiq Zukogi, now these are the next set of poems I'm introducing now, are those who are now returning to the party for the second or third time. That's the thing about NLNG. If you run something for the last 21 years, there will be returnees, and there are people who might, in the future, win this prize twice. It hasn't happened. Sadiq Sudukogi is being invited to this party for the second time in 4 years. He was with us in 2022, the last time the Nigerian Prize for Literature called for submission of poems. The book blog of Bakandamia and Elegy offers that the work is a long epic poem which the author tells us subverts the legend of Bayajida, a prince from Baghdad whose arrival reshaped the outlook of the Hausas, a native ethnic group in West Africa. It is told in part from a Boris spirit's point of view and in part through personal lyrics, part prayer and part praise song. With Unbind Me Now, James Ngueze, who is also a returnee, is appearing on the MPL long list for the second time. He was featured at the 2022 edition of CORA MPL Book Party. The book's blog describes Unbind Me Now, which is very, very fierce. I mean, I can't, if I start saying that, they will say you are supporting, okay, so Unbind Me Now. I mean, the book's blog describes Unbind Me Now as a fierce, unrelenting recollection, forged in fire, grief, and moral urgency. Papa Tanuri Ojaide was at this party in 2017. That's the Professor Ojaide. He returns 9 years later with a collection titled Adult Love, in which he recollects the small things of childhood and youth that will later guide his adult life towards values that give meaning to humanity. Ogaga Fodo is actually joining for the third time. In 2017, his work was longlisted for this prize and then shortlisted. In 2022, he was here with another. This year he's offering Why Does God Need a Gun? A collection, he says, that listens to for voices nearly erased, the screams of schoolgirls stolen in the night, the heartbeat of a daughter who refuses to renounce her faith. Ayo Yeku actually returns to a long list of the Nigerian Prize for Literature for the third consecutive year, which means he's not just a poet. Last year he came with a novel. Before he competed as a children's book writer. His 2026 work is Corpus. Oyeku informs us, I don't know what that's why you shouldn't be using so-called personal assistants. Sample your things yourself. Oyeku informs us that this collection weaves the endless human quest for meaning into animistic verses. I'd like to thank the NLNG for continuing to support this yearly afternoon of book conversation and the celebration of this country's finest authors. The MPL is 21 years, the CORA MPL party is 16 years old, and having first happened on the scenic seaside premises of the Goethe Institute on Victoria Island in 2010. I don't know of any literary prize process in which the final award is prefaced by a celebratory event of this nature, at which the authors face a community of readers in a room and talk about why and how they wrote what they are offering. At CORA, we're proud to list the book party as one of the high points of our yearly program of events. It is always 3.5 months to our major outing for the year, the annual Lagos Book and Art Festival. The theme this year is The Walkover Starts Now. We go to repair this country. We're going for elections in February. Our theme basically engages, we select those kind of books that, respond to the kind of issues that in the political environment, but they don't have to be non-fiction, they can be poems, they can be novels, they can be children's books, but we will unveil those books, but that's not for today. I don't want to do too much commercial for Regardless of who wins here this year, this afternoon's laureates are invited to the book trek segment of LABAF to share their work with the festival attendees in November. They will also be hosted to readings in the week after LABAF. Permit me to repeat our invitation to you all to participate in Lagos Book and Art Festival, November 16 to 22. And if you have an idea of any work of repair, let us know. Back to this ceremony. We're going to have an exciting time this afternoon, engaging with this star-studded cast of writers. Let us enjoy the moment. You're all welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Akensho. As usual, we tolerated what you unleashed on us, but it's okay. You get your query after this time around. Thank you. We're going to skip a bit of the program because the speaker also have come and right now we just have a bit of music and then dance. I hope the dancers are ready. The magic fingers. Please can you go on music for now? Just a minute. The magic fingers. Thank you very much. That was Magic Fingers. And they'll be back here, sure, in the course of time. Now, I think we can go straight into the main section of this program. But before then, let me do more recognition. I mentioned Mr. Dagogo Gowari, Manager, Nigerian Content Development. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce the name very well. You know, Yoruba people have no patience for names. Is it Nwachu something? You know, it's Nwachu Kowa, is it Nwachu something? Also, Mrs. Toki Abogunje, who is the president of an African, I forgot what you said, but former director in the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I didn't see it one time. One of our past directors here. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you so much. Mr. Francis Onwoche, who normally will be on the stage to help us to do some of the reading, one of the finest voices you can find in this staff. And Professor Tuji Aziz, head of the School of Media at the University of Lagos. I didn't want to call you future because your teacher is there. You don't want him to withdraw your professorship. Well, thank you very much for coming. Everybody, please, you're welcome. As we see the faces, we keep on announcing. We also have a journalist partner here. You have seen some of them, but I don't want to mention individual names. But especially, please help me to welcome all the literary organizations that are here. I don't know how many of them have asked for a list, but I don't have the list yet. But I know that I've seen people from ANA, Association of Nigerian Authors. The president and the experts are here. I've seen Nigerian book network of Nigerian book clubs and reading promoters. I think they are here too. I don't have my list, so I'm sorry. I've seen members of PEN, poets, essays, and novelists. PEN Nigeria chapter. Those are the audience are chasing for freedom of expression. Be careful. I've seen members of NANTAP. I think they are here too. Okay, thank you very much. And then we have some of the, Lagos is very rich in poetry. We have poetry cohorts, and I know this because I produce a poetry event every March, World Poetry Day, and we always engage in them. And so I've seen AJ House of Poetry, the members are here. How they have been, they are in now. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Especially we deal with this because these are very young, they are students. In this fall, I'm sure they'll be youngest. Thank you very much. Where's your master director? He's outside. Yeah, I'm sure he's selling books. I get commission from those books, so I will not disclose them. So, also, Badagry Poetry Collective, led by Chef Mwalifila, who is not here, but I'm sure the members are here. Loud Thoughts, I think they are here too. Loud Thoughts? Yeah, okay. Poets in Nigeria, PIN. I think they have the biggest program on poetry in Nigeria now because we do this cross-country poetry event that is always going on. Then we have the Niger Poet Committee. Godson, thank you very much. They are here. They are very big too. But thank you. So we do more recognition later. Today is not a day of recognition. Straight away, we want to go into the main section of this program because we're timely and we have writers who have joined us, already have joined us since about 1 p.m. sound check. So I'm not going to be calling the names as I have them here, but I'll do it while standing in that place. I'll only do the moderator here. I have the pleasure to introduce, number one, let me make a preface. There's an obsession we have in CORA, young people. Young people. As a matter of fact, somebody should start Mr. Agyonsho and myself because we are the longest reigning Secretary General, Tony Agyonsho, and Program Chair. Please start us. I think we are done and dusted. But we're grooming young people, and I can tell you that we have about 70 of them under our care. Mostly we adopted them from the University of Lagos, where Professor Omi was, when he encouraged us to start doing our book trip there. So we saw these young people who were at Odia of Fairmont. Odia is a major poet in this country. During his birthday, we saw them, and we thought that these are the people that we should bring into part of what we're doing. So we absorbed them into us, and they are the one running this whole program. I'm just taking shine by holding the microphone this afternoon. So we always encourage young people to be here. So you're going to see performance on stage by young poets. I hope the poets will not mind that we brought in young people to read your poem because they are the ones we're preparing to start taking this. So our moderator this afternoon is a very young lady, but I'm also impressed by the kind of thing that she has done in her young age. I'll just introduce her and then eventually we'll have some engagement with her too. She is Juliet Nachi. Juliet, you can feel free to walk in my front. Juliet is a performance poet. She's a spoken word poet. She's also a poet who writes, but sometimes poets, those who write poetry are not necessarily those who perform them. But she's doing all of that. And in her old age, she's formed so many poetry organizations and she has been doing that. And people don't really know about her. But every time we encounter her, we've always loved her. 1 year when we were celebrating Global Shinkas at 90, and we're looking for somebody to engage him on stage. So we look around, we didn't want to put the one that you told me at the show called the usual suspects. Big belly people like me who will be engaging Shinkas. So we look for a young person, and we found Juliet. Somebody recommended her, and even Prof. You know the way it can be. I don't want to say they are small. He said, who is that girl? And I mentioned it, and after the session, he said, you have to be the one to do it. Thank you very much. So you can walk on stage. So Juliet is a poet herself. Thank you, Juliet. And now, so I will be calling the poet. I have a feeling that if I'm standing here, okay, I won't disturb the screen. We're going alphabetical order. That's the best way to do it. Alphabetical order, not in terms of name, but titles of the book. So next time when you write your book, that man doesn't like. Next time when you write your book, make sure that your title starts with A, so that it can be number 1. I'm joking. Are we ready from the technical? Because I want to do the projections now. Adult Law by Tanuri Ojaide. Thank you very much. That's adult club by Tanuri Ojai. Next is Bakandamiya Adeleki by Sadiq Sukoki. You can say Sadiq or Sadiq, but I think you prefer to be called Sadiq.
How far?
No call them now.
No, she now. You no go show am.
Which lady?
You take.
I don't show her now. They show wetin they dey show for screen. I
You
share.
no be see am. They go see am.
The display now.
Zoom my mouth small. Make it just show image. Exactly. No, not everything. Just half like something like zoom out. Like out.
Thank you very much.
Something like this.
Sadiq.
So they will be here.
Please, you can read their profile in the brochure. All their profiles are there, and you can also check them online. Black Passport by Paul Apomuchi. Next is 2000 Blacks by Ajibola Tolashi.
Okay, power bank. What's it
Ceremony for the Nameless by Teresa Lola. Couples animistic verses by Ayoyeku. I was beginning to get gist that all of them are outside, but Ayoyeku will bring this gist for Ayoyeku is there. Please. Next, Flora's Love Colony by Tares Uburu. The Origin of Wounds by Razib Malik Ulam. Years of Love by Adedayo Agarau. Years of Love. Back to the House. Unbind Me Now by James Book. Visit. That's in the spirit. And last, but definitely not the least, why does God need a gun? By Obadiah forward. You want to do shortcuts? So for the last question that I've asked me, usually we ask you to move that way so that the video will measure the time that you get to the stage, and then we want to see your fashion parade. Thank you very much. All our poets, the rest online, thank you very much for staying with us, and we'll be having our engagement with you. Let me just drop a note that there's a deliberate attempt not to really go into any of the poems deeply, because we don't want to privilege anyone. Those who have been on this stage before, you know the crisis we had in the past, where the moderator asks a question which requires a long answer. And we've timed you that you're only going to speak for 4 minutes, and then you have to speak for 10 minutes, and then we lost time. So right now, we just have basic questions. So it's not the problem of the moderator, it is my problem. It's deliberately done so. We don't want anybody to feel privileged. If you've been part of this project in the past, there was a year that one of the poets actually wore costume and was dancing on stage. And they said, I should go and remove him. And this guy had arm legs. I said, no, if you are manipulable, I'll not go there and somebody all over his body. So thank you very much. So the questions are very basic, and then but the moderator knows what to do. I mentioned earlier on that there was a particular speech that's very important to what we're doing, because we have to know why we're here. I would like to give something applause to invite our boss, our very boss of all bosses, who is the one who is actually ensuring that we do this. Dr. Sophia Osford, GN External Relations and Sustainable Development. Please give a resign applause so that she will have to do it.
See, the reason why this one has a very bad.
I know you
have not because you are zooming.
Someone is calling me, but I can't see anybody. Please, don't let me do what I'm doing. Please, I'll do that. Please, when you are calling my attention, you are distracting me. I don't know what you are calling me for. Let me just hand you the mic. Put the blame on me. Thank you. God is going to just distract me. Having done this now, I've just asked the moderator, you are going to stand by. We take Mrs. Osford immediately after your start. The moderator. Dr. Osford.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I hope I did enough of a beauty parade coming up here.
Oh, you want that to go around?
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished stewards of our literature and arts, our media friends, ladies and gentlemen. Really, it is a pleasure to welcome you back now to the 2026 the Nigeria Prize for Literature Book Party, and one of my favorite parties, I must mention. This annual gathering, organized by NLNG in partnership with the Committee for Relevant Arts, CORA, has become one of the most anticipated moments in Nigeria's literary calendar. Today we come together not merely to celebrate a long list, but also to celebrate the enduring power of words, the courage of imagination, and the extraordinary role that literature continues to play in shaping our national consciousness. Through the book party, the conversation extends beyond the judges' table and opens the room for the literary community to engage and celebrate the ideas of the long list of 11, and to bring this truly to our literary landscape. This year, we celebrate poetry, a genre that offers unique creativity. How many of us love poetry? I certainly do, I'm with you. So poetry has the power to distill complex truths into impactful language that captures both the personal and the universal essence with strong visual elements. It gives voices to experiences that might otherwise remain unheard. From the lyrical brilliance of Nzemoa's Ohesu's Chants of a Minstrel, and Gabriel Okara's The Dreamer, his vision through Tade Ipadelo's The Sahara Testaments, to the philosophical reflections of Ikyogu Oke's The Heresiad, and the deeply personal contemporary voice of Romeo Orugun's Nomad. Each laureate has enriched our literary heritage and raised the standard of those who follow. The 2026 cycle attracted 223 entries, each bringing its own rhythm, perspective, and artistic expression. Each of these submissions speak to the vitality of Nigerian poetry and the confidence the Nigerian writers continue to place in the NLNG-sponsored the Nigeria Prize for Literature. From these entries, the panel of judges established 11 outstanding poetry collections, earned a place on this year's long list, and now stand to step closer to joining the list of distinguished poetry works. Please join me in congratulating our long-listed poets with a warm round of applause. The journey, of course, continues from here. In the weeks ahead, the long list will be refined to a short list of just 3. And on October 9th, one may be named the winner of the 2026 the Nigeria Prize for Literature. We look forward to sharing that moment with you as you stay the course with us. Let me assure you, our literary community, that this long list of 11 are great reads after today's gathering. So stay posted. We also hope that our young and aspiring writers in this room, do you want to give me a wave? Young writers and upcoming poets. Okay, there you all are. Those of you in this room will leave here encouraged to continue the work of excellence. This event is proof that every celebrated poet once began exactly where you are now, with an idea, a blank page, courage, think, even when no one was watching. And that's tough to do. If you do not stop writing, perhaps you will be the next icon to be celebrated at this event. If you would recall, the winner of the 2025 edition of this prize was a first-time writer. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, I welcome you to an afternoon filled with stimulating conversations and deeper appreciation of Nigerian poetry. Thank you, and let's enjoy this book party.
My mic is off. Okay, thank you very much, Ma, for giving us that. I said the moderator should get ready, but there's something we like to do. I spoke about not making any of the poets feeling privileged or anybody feeling somebody has been privileged. So we put the poems in the hands of young people, and they're the one to read or perform your poems. It's deliberate so that that when we ask each of the poets to read, and we don't want somebody to read a long poem, that then shall change the others, and everything is timed. So that's what we're going to have now, and the poet will announce the poem they're reading, they will announce it at the end. If you are ready, please let's start.
We all drank the water. We all drank the water fetched from the same well. But since we grew up, some of us have children and wealth, while others only contend with misery. But how come? How come this disparity among us after we drank the same water from our communal well? You see, my parents lost 3 boys before I came in, and they might have expected another casualty to be the invisible poacher's handiwork, but I survived. See, I survived to bury father and mother, and I wonder what they did otherwise for me to outlive their sorrows, and I may never know why. I may never know why. If there is a conclave of powers that determine what comes to life, each according to their wishes, but who are these powerful gatekeepers? What womb indicates their choice of what one would become? Oh, misery. Oh, misery of born and unborn. What can I say about my choice? For what can I say about my choice? Adult Love in the Childhood Garden by Tanure Ojaide. I am Adeshowa Alakala. In the end, he proves himself a despicable beast, a legionnaire who wore the face of Sankey. I think of a man's ambition and how, if he is of a feeble mind, it reduces him to a monster. I also think greed unleashes aversion. In the barracks, jeeringly, so people are laughing, printing almanacs and bread leaflets, with his corpse stomped. Every door I knocked unopened, with a sadness that buried my own contemplation. Okay, there is a new nation, and the map lines drawn are frail at the seams of every corner. The white men have returned to their country and left behind a long hence to stir their own interests. We would have protected them. We would have protected them from their cannons, but all we ask in return is worship. He was a man. He was a man to be loved more in his houses. The sea is constantly throwing bodies to the shore. Bakandawia by Sadiq Zukogi. I am Agnes Johnson. Nene, as we fondly called her, was a minstrel. Minstrel of the old assemblies of God Church. She sang every
day I knew her. Our songs were in our native dialect, Asan, and I speak a pale version of Asan, all thanks to Nene. English has ruined my tongue, tying it as a bow ties its prey. My tongue learned English under duress, but not hers. Our tongue was untamed. Mine is tangled. She tried to loosen it. She was hard on Asan only when I spoke to her. She hated English. She couldn't speak it either. I know your mate. That was our favorite broken English. And in my extended family, she was nobody's mate. She was almost 100 when she passed. She was above all of us in time, in memory, in history. So who will tell me stories of the Biafran War? Nene let our memories spill into the room like rain. See, when Gowon's soldiers ransacked our village, they found no evil to shoot, because Nene would hide them. She would hide them in a secret place, a fortress in my grandfather's house built from red mud. I heard it was a bulletproof house. But who will I rehearse my depleting Asan with? For my mother condones my English, but our mother never did. She's gone, without a goodbye, without a song, just silence, just the sound of my own husky voice, singing about her, singing about her. Black Passport by Paul Apomuche. I am Adeshawa Alagbala. Thank you.
I feel them, tugging at my towel on the beach. This ghost whose city fell after the first anchoring of ships. Now they return, and the eyes of perched swans. The houses on the shoreline are white, consulates, hotels. In one, people shake hands and smile. The end of things dies in another. Night. There is a party on every street corner. Even the dead cannot stop loving us. Night is a way out of the city. Money changes hands, and the man is being led down a dark alley. I, too, pay for sex. The ideal language is elegance. Here, we do not say thieves. We say fine boys. A taxi driver once told me, I have to ignore the city's history to love it. It was a wet day. Blood trickled down the windows of the taxi. The rain sounded like a cry. I cursed the driver's smile. The night fine boys visited my house. My mother stared at their guns as if she has never seen one before. They forgot to conceal the Nigerian police force imprint, or they did not care. The third bridge connects the island to the mainland. The first bridge is the bridge. The second is a dream. Motorcycles are prohibited. Executive escape the traffic in boats. In a gridlock, I say, oh, when I mean pain. This is the kingdom of Nigerian princes. It is also the city of jungle justice. The native word for burn is the same as dance. The urban sprawl is bridled by the temperament of rains. Its residents desire queues and the wet seasons when their houses become aquaria. They are back now with the rains. The swans, spreading their wings like wet parchments. Their heads droop as though they have lost their song. They look like a sea with no tide. 2,000 Blacks by Ajibola Tolashe. I am resting Kelani.
If only you could walk softly with the inner edge of your feet, treading the path where shadows meet light, for the river that forgets its source dries up in shame, leaving bones of dreams bleached under the sun's unblinking eye. If only you could walk carefully with the outer edge of your feet, because your destiny is a fragile flame in the night storm. Guard it carefully, or the gust of folly will snuff it out, leaving you wandering in the cold void of what could have been. If only you could walk squarely on your feet. Try as you might. Some threads snap in unseen gales. The dream that falters is not defeat, but a verse rewritten in the book of endless figuring, where humility blooms anew. Yet, in this chilling dance of pursuit and peril, forget the misstep, for the final weave is not yours to command. Walk and fulfill the purpose etched in your soul's quiet core, for the wise man knows the journey's end is not the goal, but the caress of each step along the way.
When are you visiting me in Nigeria? I promise I will before your day of dying. We'll dance to a trumpet playing, wash our heads with what bursts from its cradle. And how the master's going? It's going, Grandma. I am mastering how to hold up one, the way a trumpet is held, with hands, with mouth, with the whole body without dying. I'm mastering how to write, the way a trumpet stretches a map of sounds from only 3 notes and doesn't give room for dying. I'm proud of you, my dear. Here is a prayer for you. Who gets to your ears when you think of dying? Amen, 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 ni orúkọ Jésù. Ceremony for the Nameless by Teresa Lola. I'm a Christian sing.
Yeah. Oh, na, yeah. Everybody's on the way, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even when you just believe it. Yeah. All try to just the window. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't you worry about your pillow. Cause if you struggle, you can get it if you want. If you love, you can be just what you want. If you struggle, you can climb a mountain down. Cause nothing is too small, and nothing is too big. Who you are, who you are, who you are, who you are, who you ibi tí kò bí mi kò dé, máa fẹ́ máa tún kọjọ, ibi tí lẹ́ni mi kò dé, máa fẹ́ máa tún kọjọ, orí orí mi jọ, orí lẹ́nu ọkọ mi ò orí mi máa so, uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo sọ uyo uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ uyo sọ uyo sí ọwọ́ mi balẹ̀ bùbùlẹ̀. Mayo panda loke loke panda Teni ola amadu aboye amamati akoye Panda elebi o yesi Wara mata shibala rusa pepo Wara mata shibala rusa pepo Amala shala ye amala shala ye Odura TV lójoojúmọ́ má jẹ́ kó ta borí bí ìjọ ibikíbi tó bá ti wù mọ́ máa pé inú rẹ̀ dùn torí o mo ṣeré báyìí wá mo ṣeré bóyá gbọ́dọ̀ láyé mi á bóyá gbọ́dọ̀. Mo sorire láyé mi ó, mo sorire, I see you baby. Bóyá padà láyé mi á, yeah. Uyo bẹ́ẹ̀, uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́nu ọ̀sán ọ̀pọ̀, yeah. Uyo bẹ́ẹ̀, uyo bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ́nu yeah. See, baby, come on and be like zombie. Come along me with your coca body. Yeah, come and be like zombie. Yeah, come on me with your coca body. Yeah, this your milky confronting out for me. Oh, for me, I know go to me, Connie. Yeah, and if you're milky now, fighty, I saw me too. Hey, gelato, oh baby, Sumaya. Mama, I see you sing what? Macho, Mona Lisa, Macho, Mama, baby. Macho, pretty baby. Macho, sexy mommy. Macho, Mona Lisa. Macho, Mona Lisa. Macho, Mona Lisa. Macho. Well, I'll be cool and sleep, but don't let you indulge me. Your lips like poison. I'll take my chance with you. If I didn't know time, you're the level. You're in the night. I'll show you the loyal. You're time I'm on fire like tsunami. You're level. Yeah, yeah. Who you will be, you'll be now. See the come back, come let's and you it's all my child. Yeah, baby, come now, come now. Will you give me sugar?
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'm sure that this workshop will continue, okay? But we have to go on with the program because we also like, so we don't resume the performances now, so we can get to the question and answer on time.
Flags flown at half-mast. The ceremony is long over. Under the green-white scene is a room furnished with lights. Nigerians all bright. Yet, dark in the basement built with beginnings. All the doors leads to music. Let's open some windows, close the country. Emotions run deep into the portraits. Colony hands that at once worked ruthlessly to bring the tribes to one field. The center holds together the promise of love, a bed of roses, a lamp shining in excitement at the corner, overwhelmed by a mug of tea. A bottle of honey as new as the first day of October, a pack of cards, slices of bread arranged like bricks in a saucer. The map of this world neatly packed on this grand piano. Notes on the patchwork draped from picture frames. The chandelier, if they are not the light from the sun, must be the moon fixed firmly to the religions of the season. The meaning in the painted fingers of Flora are adorable, worshipped by sets of desires wrapped around the shoulders of the one she loves. The man who will take her step by step through the plains of Newtown to the genealogy of separation. Flora's love colony, Tares Oburubu. I am Toby Adeyemi. On the vast body of water, there are waves heavy with the last prayers of the drowned. There's a catalogue of losses, a depository of last words spoken by those whose bloated bodies cannot be received from the bottom of the sea. Dear God, beneath the seas are the bodies of our fathers who shouldered children in the light of the world. Mothers who once tendered their infants with lullabies. How do we measure the depth of the sea that claimed the bodies of our loved ones? How do we track the footprints of the drowned on water? Tell me how. In the register of drowned bodies, they are forgotten children. Mahmoud, Abdullah, Zobu, Hasham, Uthman, Kabiru, Hakim, Azan, Alan, Khadija, Asana, Zinat, Ahmad. All of them were children. Too many to be counted. All of them were children who would never wake up to the sky occupied by birds, to the smell of the grass, to the serene streets of their homelands, to the butterflies of the field. The Origin of the Woods by Razak Malik Bolahon. I am Tobi Adeyemi.
In the parking lot of 99 cents on Springfield Avenue, my father says nobody charges you for parking at home. We stand outside the mall beside this black unnumbered wagon, talking about home, and the cold ends its plunges deep towards the obstacles of dream. In Ibadan, there are no buses waiting for you. No waiting, no lampposts in College Crescent at 5 a.m. when your throat is thick with fog. You are not wearing 3 trousers in the winter coat. You are not heavy with desire, and you are not trapped here, wrapped inside the fond hope you carried years before you walked before the consulate, before sliding the white paper beneath the glass barricade. I wanted to be here, in this country, to claim triumph over grief, and the shrine in my father's house, where a man is calling my name into a calabash. The Years of Lord by Adedayo Agara. I am Mercy Kelani. Thanks.
I am he whose reflection astounds the mirror. Proteus, I make definitions swallow hard. A profile that swings with monkey ease across chasms of existence. I belong with those a little outside the circle, out on the margin, held at arm's length for being too vast to name. I wield the microphone with the same hand that makes the ink bleed on paper, mixing metaphors to incubate the season. And when the heat rises, I am embedded with the fourth estate to braid history's first draft, and with an even hand, keep facts sacred and comments free. I belong with those you forgot to love, who inhabit the cleft, shape-shifting to lend light to rainbows. We are the salt, not of the earth, but of the stars, which twinkle with intensity when the sky is dark and the sun on recess.
Unbind Me Now by James Mbu Eze. Thank you.
Darkness thick like a wall of wet wood. I will be my own lamp shining in my belly, unseen by kidnappers of the soul, who rejoice thinking they've killed me, thinking they've killed the light in me. Punch down the weak to make themselves the last beacon. Eyes closed. I will navigate my way to the star, twinkling for me, saying, I want over the night to keep the promise of dawn. An owl's hoot. Hoop, hoop. A bat's upside down prayer. The shriek of the antelope as the lion claps his jaw. The mosquito's patience with the ears. Count for me the hours and the days. Tell me that my fate, lie in my hands, cut for God's mercy. To hell with bearded saviors of God. 2,000 years ago, God the Son told his zealous bodyguards to let little children come to him. For the road to his kingdom is paved with laughter that flutters with wings of the butterfly, cool in the throat of the thrush, innocence that breaks us. Why does God need a gun? Ogaga Ifowodo. I am Olawe Nathaniel. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you are impressed with what they have done, please a resounding applause for them. As I said, we deliberately choose young people to read your poems, SARS and Ma, because we think that you've written, and those who are going to be reading it are these young ones, and we want them to engage the text further. Thank you very much for that. These are members of CORA, as well as undergraduates, but all people who read on stage are award-winning spoken word performers themselves. I want them to see the book so that you can buy the books outside. That's why we ask them to hold the book and not just come on stage. Please buy the book. That's what it means. Thank you very much. Now we go into the Q&A, and now it's left to the moderator, Juliet Nnaji. Please a big round of applause for her. And for all the writers online and those who are in the house with us. My job is done for now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliet Nnaji, and it's really a pleasure to be here to be moderating this Q&A with the 11 long-listed poet laureates for the NLNG Prize for Literature 2026. I would say that it's an honor to be here because a lot of these authors, I follow their work, I read their work, and they inspire my writing. So for the first session of this Q&A, I will ask each author 3 questions. They are really the same question, but because I have license as the moderator, I tweaked some of them a bit, but they are really the same question. You all have 2 minutes. I have a timer here for so each question you have 2 minutes to answer them. I have a timer because I have been told that some people would think I am promoting some people and not giving some people the time. And I really want to enter or talk to you guys later for mentorship or anything, and I do not want. But I will start with adult love in the childhood garden. So my first question goes to you, Tanire. I don't know if you can hear me. Tanire Ojaide, can you hear me? Okay. So my first question to you is, from winning the Commonwealth Poetry Prize in 1987 until now, where you are a long-listed poet laureate for one of Africa's most prestigious literary prizes. Looking at your journey, what does this moment represent for you? Tanire Ojaide, can you hear me? Can you say something? He's speaking. Oh, is there a way for the room to hear what Tanire is saying? Terry, can you please hold on? The room cannot hear you yet. Okay, so maybe I will start with the people on seat while they resolve that. So I will start with Flora's Love Colony by Thares Obomumu. What compelled you to write a handbook of the history of Nigeria from the pre-colonial times to the present? What was your motivation?
What compelled me to write Flora's Love Colony is when I read about the history of Nigeria, there's nowhere you can not find Flora Shaw. Of course, we all know who Flora Shaw is. She is the wife of Lugard, the first Governor General of Nigeria. Then today, while we were on the bus coming, my fellow poet, Okaga, we made a very light joke of it when he asked me, when he said the relationship between Flora and Lugard was not a label marriage. So it wasn't properly arranged, an arranged marriage. And then he said the Lugard, Flora is a girlfriend of Lugard. And then I said, if Flora, in my mind, I said, if Flora is a girlfriend of Lugard, then we are all illegal children of Nigeria. Because she was the one that gave us the name Nigeria. And from what I read about Flora, she's the one that gave us the name Nigeria, and she didn't give us that name. She gave us that name out of love, love for a country, love for a people. So I saw all that, and I decided that I think I should write a brief history of it. That's how Flora Love Colony came about. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Thares. And also thank you very much for staying on time. So my next question is, looking at your journey, what does this moment represent for you? Being a long-listed poet laureate for the 2026 NLNG Prize.
Yeah, my journey, poetry journey, has been a very tough and long one. You know, I've been writing poetry for the past 15 years or so. I think the first 10 years were very, tough for me. And it was during those difficult times that I won the Solomon Festival Prize for African Poetry. And that really spurred things, that really encouraged me to keep on, to stay on the journey. And then this year, I found my name on the long list of the Nigerian, I think one of the prestigious and very highly rated prizes in Africa. Of course, global, you understand. So finding your name on the list I think it's something I cannot explain, is something beyond me. I find joy and I'm thinking that with this, I think my journey I have a very long way to go and it's also bright for me. So finding yourself among very magnificent poets, 11 poets, means something extraordinary for me.
Thank you for that. It's a round of applause for his answer so far. So my last question for this round is, if you were to win the LNNG Prize for Literature, how would it affect your entire career, not just as a poet, but your entire career?
Of course, from the Niger Delta, one of the poorest regions also where I come from. During my primary school days, we used to paddle canoe while going to school, attending my primary school. And there were no books. You know, I can remember vividly, it was at the age of 15, I got to read my first book, and that was a poetry volume, edited by Wole Soyinka himself. And the poem that got me was this Building a Nation, written by one Ribadiri, I've forgotten the other name. You know, that was when I started reading. So I started reading a book from, I think, age 14, 15 or so. So my long dream has been to build a library, you know, for primary school pupils. So that's been my dream. So if I should be able, I will be overjoyed, I'll be full of joy if I'll be able to build a library, you know, for primary school children.
Thank you so much for that. Another round of applause for you. Please, more round of applause. It's not easy to be a poet, alright? Okay, so the next person I'll be asking questions is you, Sir Ogaga Ikowodo. A lot of people have written about the Sharibu, a lot of people have written pieces about Boko Haram, but what compelled you to write this piece? That's why does God need a gun? Why does God need a gun? Which is a collection that is more, that talks more, which is more than just the Boko Haram or the things surrounding the Boko Haram. So what compelled you to write that book?
Thank you very much. Just before I go into my answer, speaking of Lugard and Nigeria, I think I should remind my brother Paul that I have a poem, my second book of poems, entitled God Punish You, Lord Lugard. Now, about this book, I think the title gives it away. God, the Almighty, the Creator, whom from the Abrahamic religions at least is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Yet somehow, some beings molded out of mere clay believe that they have to protect God, turn themselves into the guardian of God. They do not want to wait for God's promised judgment on the last day. And then a mere child is taken from school, and not one, but so many, from Chibok, Dapchi, the federal government college, boys 61 on the way thing, and in many, many other atrocities done in the name of God. This book began its life with a working title, Creeds and the Incredulous, before by the Paul Sharif, who is the abducted girl. For all who have suffered victim, ask of the captors, why does God need a gun? And the question does not just rest there. Imagine Nelson Mandela was several times offered freedom if only he would renounce violence. Now, in the eyes of the apartheid regime, this was violence. But taking their land and oppressing them was violence by the Boers. And he rejected the offer, went back to prison. And a mere girl of 14, maybe 15, is offered from the testimony we got from those who were freed, freedom if she will renounce her faith and convert to Islam. And she had the courage to say, no, that is worthy of celebration 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000 times over. That is the motivation for why of God.
Thank you so much. So you each go beyond or above your time. But it's taking me back to the second question. While I was in the room, I had a lot of people say this is your third time being longlisted for the NLNG Prize for Literature. Looking back, your journey from the first time you wrote this, from the first time you ever wrote any piece, what do you think that this moment means for you as a poet laureate for the NLNG Prize?
As a writer, is that 3 times in a row, what I have done has been deemed worthy of being highlighted as among the 11 best out of hundreds of entries. That in itself gives me some kind of satisfaction. But as I say, the wish for me is that it will be the 3rd time is a charm. The first time was on the short list. Second time was on the long list. This time I hope I get back to the short list and then go all the way. And I know the next question, what would I do? Well, I started my writing career at Federal Government College, Warri. We had an annual Festival of Arts and Culture. And one evening, the 6th form, in those days we had from 1 to from 5, and then lower 6 and upper 6 A levels, turned to me, I was in Form 4 then. So you have a bent to the arts now, so I said, yes, why don't you write a poem for our house, Independence House, as our entry for the poetry event in the Festival of Arts and Culture. I'd never before then strung 2 words together by way of a poem, but I wrote a poem entitled Ill Wind, imagining the adage that ill wind that blows no one any good. And it claimed the first prize for Independence House. And I was required to recite it before the entire school, which is probably the largest audience I've had for my poetry. And since then, I've always thought of doing something in commemoration of my start. So I will want to establish an annual poetry prize at Federal Government College.
A round of applause for that. Thank you so much. Now I will go to the people online. I will go back to Tanugre Ojaide. Can he hear us now? And he's able to hear him.
I can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, so over to you, Sir Tanugre Ojaide. From winning the Commonwealth Prize, Poetry Prize in 1987 until now, where your poetry collection has been longlisted for one of Africa's most prestigious literary prizes. Looking at your journey, what does this moment represent for you?
I look at this as normal in my career at this stage. That I've been writing poetry for a very long time. I won many prizes. But at this time, each period of my life gives me the sort of poetry I should write. And in this collection, Adult Love, which has to do with the small things of the beginning, when I was living in the village in the Niger Delta, far, far behind. That village is no more. And we moved into a bigger village now. Small things like the relationship with nature, with water, with the animals, and such things later, in my later life, my adult life now, they now guide me towards certain values which affirm humanity. Should we be kind to animals? Should we protect our water? At that time, my mother would go and fetch fish, and fetch just enough to cook a meal for the children. Not more than that, not to sell, but just for us to eat. And things have changed. So I'm trying to look at those small things of childhood and youth, and how they affect the values we now hold. And then now in Tango, people talk about environmental nutrition. My mother and father practiced that long before they came into being in the 1990s and so forth. At the same time, this period of my life, I've seen a lot. I go through a lot. And you see that I talk about politics, I talk about society, and my collection is based on 7 movements. And from the movement of invoking my muse to the last one, you could see that I go through the history of Nigeria, society, and what could make us better human beings than we are. Whether in politics or in anything, in the end, it's how we behave as human beings that matter. If we are good human beings, we won't have bad politics or bad governments. So this, in a way, is an affirmation that the things of childhood will help us in adult life to be more human and also adopt such human values as to make us more governable and make others progress in spite of everything.
Thank you so much for that answer. Although I think that you touched in some ways to my second question, which is what first motivated you or compelled you to write Adult Love in the Childhood Garden. So maybe if you have another answer to that question, you can.
Yes, but let me go. Okay. See, as I'm saying, I've been writing for a long time, and each period of my life, I get some inspiration. I write when I'm inspired, and I don't force myself. Let me write on this. And at this period, I'm more interested in looking at the environment, looking at society, looking at the culture, and see how have these things affected us as we now live. And from these things, we look at those points. They're about the environment, about society, about how we relate to our fellow human beings and to non-human beings. And these are the things that affected me that, no, one should write about these things. And the inspiration came, and I wrote them. And I went through, as I write them about the environment, I also look at how we as human beings have become so greedy. A lot of corruption, a lot of other things which are there, which are written. So at this period of my life, these are the issues which have affected me, which I feel I should write about to make us more human than we are. We are too greedy, we are almost too of everything. And I think we are not human beings. But when you hear about things happening, and these human beings don't know who they are. If they know what they are, they won't go beyond themselves. We should look at things that can make us and others live a better life than now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tanuri. So my last question is the same as I've asked the other two laureates. If you were to win the Nigerian Prize for Literature, how would it affect your entire career?
It affects my career to affirm more of what I'm doing, but I've won many prizes, including the Nigerian Merit Award, and I'm already trying to give out a poetry prize, which I put at either ₦1 million or $1,000. So this will make me do more things on a broader level. See, what is important is that why there's so much noise about writing in Nigeria, people have not paid so much attention to the writing itself. There are so many associations of writers in every state. They meet weekends at the end of the month. But the real teaching of writing is not done. So I want to spend some money, if possible, to really make people practice writing. Encourage writing programs, workshops, that you tell people what their writing will mean. It's not enough to just talk about the writing, anything. But how do you write? How do you bring changes in writing? And so mine is to spend more money, to make people write better through workshops, even generate interest in the younger population that they want to write poetry. And what does poetry mean to them? How can they make the poetry to grow than it has between the past 40, 50 years and so forth? So mine is to devote money to writing workshops, writing programs, writing prizes, and other things that will make our literature stand out as unique in Africa and the world?
Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you so much. So the next person I'll be asking questions is Sadiq Zukogi on his book, Bakandamia and Elegy. So my first question is, what was your motivation for writing this collection, which fuses the Hausa praise period tradition of Bakandamia, first popularized by the legendary Maman Shata with an elegy?
Yeah, hi, thank you all, and congratulations to all of the unlisted poets. Personally, I cannot take credit for this, I want to, but in 2020, I was still studying for my PhD. I walked into my mentor's office, who also doubles as my editor, and he asked, why is it that we haven't had an epic from an African poet in a while? And I just said I'll do it without even thinking about it. And so when I started thinking about what to do, I wanted to introduce people to the way that we are in the North, because oftentimes a lot of people pontificate about the North, but it's actually a place that people do not know about. And it's a place of great history, great tradition. And we also have poetic tradition, and so I wanted to bring it to the forefront, because oftentimes when people talk about Africa in general, the slaw of Africa, the dark continent, but it's always the ignorance of others being projected onto us. And I was reading a particular historian who was speaking about the Hausa people, and he said, these are people without myth, which is this form of dehumanization, because if you have no myth, it means you have no life, it means you're not a person. And instead of reacting angrily, I set out to change that, like to say, hey, we've got myth, we've got poetry, and look, we're breathing human beings, we're humans too.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for the answer. My question is, from that first motivation, you wrote the book, and now we're here. The book is one of the long-listed collection for the prize. So the next question is, what does this moment represent for you?
It's affirmation, to be here with contemporaries, to be here with friends, to be here with forebears. I remember, I think it's 2009 when Ahmed Mewada, the poet, who was also a finalist in the 2009 edition of the NNNT, introduced me to Nuri Ojaide. I was a teenager then, so it's a huge honor to be in this conversation with people who have been writing, people who have been good example for us to follow. It's just immense pleasure to be here, and a lot of people have said that here is a win already, and that it's true for me, because when I started writing, I just wanted to write poems. I just wanted to express myself, and everything else is extra. So this is extra, and I'm deeply honored to be here.
And for the final question, how will, if you win, how will it affect your entire career?
Yeah, that's a big say, because hopefully my career will be big. That's a prayer, amen. But I was talking to my dad, and he said to me, my dad is a poet too, although I have benched him. He said it's a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's actually too much money for one person. And I still think that. And I told him, if I get to be a finalist, if I get to be a winner, part of my acceptance speech would be, NLNG, can you split this to be a $25,000 prize, so that every year a poet can win it, so that everywhere, a fiction writer can win it, so that every year a children's literature can win it. It's a lot of money. But what am I going to do? I think the only thing I'll do right now that I've thought of is, my mom hasn't seen me in close to a decade. I'm gonna try and make sure that, like, she misses me in comfort. So, like, I'd spend a huge chunk of that money on mom.
Thank you so much, and I do hope that you get to see your mom soon. So the next person I'll be asking questions is Teresa Lola, author of Ceremony for the Leaderless. So my first question is, looking back at your journey from that school trip to a poetry festival in Lagos that first sowed the seed of poetry in you, and now you've been longlisted for one of Africa's most prestigious literary prizes. What does this moment represent for you?
It's a huge honor to be on this list. I think for me, it just affirms what I'm doing, because I started writing when I was young. A teacher encouraged me. But when I went to university, my first degree was in accounting and finance. I had no sense of what it meant to be a writer as a profession. But when I graduated from university, I took that bold step that I was going to pursue writing. And that was over a decade ago. So this prize affirms what I'm doing. It's an encouragement, but also poetry has been a big part of the ecosystem in Nigeria, in storytelling, in preserving our cultures, in shaping the way Nigeria is seen on the global platform. And so it's an honor knowing that, I'm inked as part of those writers that are, forever part of the literary canon in Nigeria. And I hope the way that, writers inspired me to reimagine Nigerian culture and to write my stories. This prize affirms that hopefully our books, everyone on the list, our books are now going to be widely read and will inspire next generation of writers. So it's an honor to be able to continue that.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for her, please. What was the motivation for writing Ceremony for the Leaderless?
I was intrigued by the importance, the significance of names in Nigerian culture in a way that isn't seen in other cultures around the world. And I wanted to return to, think about what are the traditions and the intricate practices of naming Yoruba culture in particular. So when I moved to the UK, everyone still calls me Fundola, my family, but other students struggle to pronounce the name. So naturally they started, moving to my middle English name, Teresa. And also when I graduated from university, I didn't want employers to find my poetry. So I then adopted Lola, and Teresa became the artist name. There was something there about the ways that I use names to shape my identity in different ways. There's things that we do to acclimate into different cultures. A lot of us have 3, 5, 6 names. And there was something that I wanted to explore. So it started as a personal inquiry into how names shape our destiny, how they call forth our future. And as any writer, when we write, we have an intention, but you want it to become a journey of discovery. And as I wrote the book, it went from being a personal inquiry to looking at the political, sociological, and racial aspects of naming. I mean, a fellow writer mentioned earlier about how Nigeria got its name. And that's something that also comes through in the book. But it starts with a Yoruba naming ceremony. And so the book I wanted the book to be one long ceremony, to carry on that essence of joy, of musicality and praise that is embedded in our celebrations, but also in our languages, as most of our languages are tonal. So it had to be, initially the title was Naming Ceremony for the Nameless, but I wanted to, remove the naming and just explore widely naming and, celebration and community.
Thank you so much. And the last question, how will winning this prize affect your entire career?
Well, prizes are, I think prizes are part of the heartbeat of what keeps the literary community going, because it draws attention for readers to take notice of our work. And so this prize, for me, it will be another affirmation that every writer needs, but also it puts me in a position to invest back into the things that help me in literary education, being able to educate people on poetry and its importance, the craft of writing, but also being able to invest in publishing. Publishing is really important, and now, not just in Nigeria, but globally, publishers struggle because of high production costs and things like that. So this prize is not just a way for us for me, as it wouldn't just be a win for me as a poet, but I think it'll be a win for publishers to continue to invest in our work and readers to continue to pay attention to poetry.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for that. For the next person, I'm going to ask you questions about Black Passport. Black Passport is your debut poetry collection, and the collection has now been longlisted one of Africa's most prestigious literary prizes. What does this moment represent for you?
Thank you so much. First of all, congratulate everyone on the list. I am very fortunate to be longlisted. When I saw the information that I was not longlisted, I tweeted on my ex account that I'm the least among them, I'm the least of them all. And my friend Romeo sent a message and said, no, you're not the least among them, you're one of them. So I'm very lucky and fortunate to be among such great poets. What this means for me is huge because I have not been doing so much poetry over the last few years. When I won my first poetry prize in 2007, back in the when I was a student at the Buffalo University Congress, in 2007, they gave me a complimentary copy of his book, Naked Souls, and he wrote on that book that you're a budding poet. It was not until very recently I started ruminating on that comment and I started taking my poetry seriously. So for me, being longlisted is a way to remind me that this is something I have to take seriously, more seriously. I have to do more work in the kind of poetry that I do. Also, just thinking about the fact that I am a teacher. I teach in university. And for someone teaching in university, specifically teaching the Faculty of Education, and teaching social justice and whatnot, you don't get to see a lot of people doing poetry and using poetry as pedagogy. So one of my research areas is poetry as pedagogy, how we use poetry to create knowledge, co-create knowledge with students. I have done that in a pedagogical sense, but I think for now I'm sliding more into doing it within the collection genre. And so for me, getting longlisted for this prize is really significant. And I am not going to say, I remember I was going to teach when I got a text message from my publisher to say today is the long list. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, I'm rooting for everyone. That was my message to the publisher, that I'm rooting for everyone. And then when I was done teaching, I was preparing for another class. I saw a message from my publisher, and that's Great Land Publishing, that's Big Nkuno, texting me to say, you are one of them. I said, one of who? I couldn't understand. You're one of who? He said, the longest, and then another professor called me Dr. Uche, Mezurike, like, you're one of them. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So for me, it's such a big deal, and I do not take it lightly. I think it's a huge reminder for the kind of work that I do in academia.
Thank you so much for that, Paul. Although you did go over your time a lot, but I hope that you use less time for the other two questions. One of which is, what is your motivation for writing Black Passport? Or what was your motivation for writing?
I think for me, I was just trying to tell migration stories. I'm a migration scholar, and my research is grounded in migration narratives. And I imagine that not many people talk about migration stories, especially with what's happening in the US now. A lot of poets, my friends here, Zach Malik, we talk about politics in the US law. A lot of people are running from talking about migration stories. And I wanted to document my own experience of migration and diasporic life. I imagine how diasporic life is very complicated, and I just wanted to write an everyday experience of very exact.
Okay. Thank you. Still online? Okay, network issues, maybe, but I will move us back to the room and ask Ayo Oyeku, who's sitting beside me.
Recording in progress.
Is it back online?
Yeah, I'm online, I just can't hear you.
Okay, so the last question is, what would you do if you were to win? Not that question. How would you approach your entire career if you were to win the prize?
I think it's weird. It has really impacted my career in a huge way. As I've been telling a lot of folks that making it to the long list already remains a big win for me already. And I am not going to say that winning the final prize is going to significantly change anything. It has already changed a lot in terms of the motivation that it has given me to do the kind of work that I do. So for me, it's really impacted significantly. And then it's about the prize, about the money. My wife is on this live right now. She's probably having plans for it already. So I'm probably going to defer to her on that. But significantly, I want to do a lot of work around poetry and pedagogy. How do we bring poetry to the classroom? And some of those projects will require some funding. And I'm looking at how do I put in some fund into that kind of research that I'm thinking about.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for him, please. And then back to the room to Ayo Oyeku, author of Purpose. What was your motivation for writing a collection that is rooted in Yoruba cosmology and animated by the beats of African memories?
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for sharing your time with us. So the idea to write Purpose stemmed from my love for animistic verses. So I think way back 98, 97, I came across this collection of poems by Wole Soyinka called Poems of Black Africa. And there's a particular section where you have these animistic verses. And the moment I read those poems, it basically jumped at me, and I love that kind of poetry. I love that kind of form of poetry. And basically, animism is you giving agency to inanimate objects. So for example, you could see when you were playing music the other time, talking drum was actually talking. Now, just imagine that thing having a life of its own and communicating with you. The interesting part is that if you look into our religions, animism is layered and injected with everything that we are doing, from the myth to the culture to the beliefs, into everything animism is layered in it. So I now thought, okay, let me pick one powerful religion, an old religion, which is the Ifa religion, with Yoruba race believing. So I did a thorough research on that and tried to settle on the first principal modus, which is like the first 16 corpus. So I worked on that and I had to broaden it in the whole collection. So the first section gives you an introduction into what these principal modus are talking about. The second section takes you into like an epic tale to give you an elaborate understanding of what you're talking about.